Trump has broken just about every promise he's ever made to the American worker. He's rewarded companies that have cut jobs and failed to invest here at home with billions of dollars in tax breaks. We're going to impose a tax penalty on companies that avoid paying U.S. taxes by offshoring jobs and manufacturing. I'm not looking to punish American business, but there's a better way.
Joe Biden trashing President Trump's economy while on the trail in must-win Michigan.
Something Biden didn't mention, though, the millions of American jobs that disappeared as a result of his policies. Senior fellow at the National Taxpayer Union, Mattie Duppler, joins us live. Good morning, Mattie.
Good morning, you guys.
All right, so I want to get into a little bit of Joe Biden's tax plan that he discussed yesterday. He plans on taxing companies at a higher rate that move jobs overseas in an effort to create more jobs here at home. Do you think that's a good idea?
Well, I think this demonstrates that Vice President Biden hasn't learned anything for the 8 years that he and President Obama were in office. This is right out of the Obama-Biden playbook, where you had a president who continued to threaten American companies who had multinational operations. And that was because under the Obama-Biden administration, you had the highest corporate tax rate in the world. That, of course, drove investment to other countries outside the United States borders. This is something that Biden should really be looking at President Trump for guidance on. President Trump, of course, cut that corporate tax rate down to 21%. And as a result of that, this is crucial. As a result of that, not only did that drive investment back to the United States, but that investment ended up in the pockets of workers as a result of higher wages because companies could finally domicile here rather than keeping their profits elsewhere because it was too expensive to bring them back home.
Mattie, look, critics are going to argue that Biden is pro-union and as a result is pro-worker. How do you respond to that?
Well, I would respond by saying you can't be pro-worker if you are pro-increasing barriers for the American worker. New taxes on American corporations, trying to force American companies to have all of their entities domiciled here in the United States. That not only raises costs for hiring workers, it raises costs on workers who are also consumers. It means that there are less things here that Americans can afford to buy. It raises prices. It creates an environment that we saw over the 8 years of the Obama-Biden administration, where wages stayed under 2%. Basically, what you saw for workers in states like Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania is they hadn't seen a pay raise in 10 years, and that's exactly what led to the election of President Trump, who said he saw those workers and wanted to deliver for them.
Yeah, well, the auto industry is obviously very important to Michigan's economy, Michigan being a very critical swing state. How has President Trump's policies benefited or hurt Michigan's auto industry, and what will Joe Biden's policies do to that region as well?
Well, unfortunately, when it comes to trade, I think politicians are trying to get quick hits rather than the policy right. President Trump should be looking more to what he's done on tax than on trade to create a more responsive and robust environment for industries like the auto industry. Look at the things like the new NAFTA, the USMCA. That's a good example of where President Trump looked to reduce barriers to increase our relationships with our trading partners. That's the kind of approach you want for a president who's going to deliver for workers, is increasing the environment and increasing the number of countries that we trade with. As a result, there's more things we can produce and there's more jobs for American workers.
Quickly, Mattie, 30 seconds remaining. Can Trump win Michigan? And if so, why?
Todd, you always put me on the time clock, but of course he can win Michigan. He did it in 2016. If he keeps talking about what he can do to deliver workers, and if he keeps talking about how he has already delivered for workers by reducing barriers, reducing taxes, and making it more positive for American businesses to invest here at home.
Mattie, I put you on the clock, but you always deliver. I mean, perfectly timed, great answers. That's why we love having Mattie Duppler on the program.
There you go.
Mattie,
That's
so
right.
much.
And of course, the president going to be in Michigan today. Thank you, Mattie, to deliver that very message, I'm sure. The time is now 18 minutes after the